Olá, you are listening to The Road to Rio with Abid Imam. Bem-vindos ao Rio de Janeiro.
Brasil!
Bem-vindos à cidade maravilhosa.
Usain Bolt storming through, he takes it again.
The Road to Rio with Abid Imam.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Road to Rio. My name is Abid Imam. This is episode 5. There's just 100 days to go now to the Olympics and there's plenty of excitement in the air. On this show we've got a great guest and more Brazilian bits to hang out for, so stay tuned. Just wanted to say thank you for your support so far on the show. It's Abid Imam, Road to Rio, on iTunes, on Facebook, and abidimam.com as well. Last month was the Australian Athletics Championships in Sydney, and that served as the Olympic trials. There was a particular athlete that made a really big impression. He is 21 and he's an absolute gun. His name is Cedric Dubler. He's the first Aussie to qualify since the Sydney 2000 Olympics in the decathlon event. And decathletes are the consummate all-rounders. He will tell you a little bit more about what particular events he does, but let me just tell you, he can run 100 metres in less than 11 seconds, high jump over 2 metres, long jump close to 8 metres, and he can throw a javelin further than a lot of us can kick a footy. And also he dominates social media as well, and it's pretty exciting what he does, so he'll talk about that. He was a top lad to speak to, so without much further ado, here's Cedric Dubler. Cedric, welcome to the Road to Rio. How did it feel when you crossed the line to finish your decathlon and you realised you were going to Rio?
Thank you. It's very good to be here. Honestly, utter relief, I guess. Such a long lead into the national championships, and it was such a mental and physical battle over the 2 days, so once I crossed that finish line in the 1500, it was just, pure relief that hit me.
How and where did it all start for you in your athletic career?
It started back in year 5 of school, and, I started doing the long jump. I did some 800s, I did some sprints, I just mingled around with a few events, and the PE teacher at school saw a bit of potential in me and sent me off to represent the school at the district carnival. Did well there, went to the regionals, went to the States. It just sort of progressed from there. The following year I joined Little Athletics and got some training in more events, and then I think it was around 2008, I think, I found a coach that started coaching pole vault just because I saw it on the TV. I thought it was really cool. So started doing the pole vault, and then 2 years later I joined a new coach, and he brought me into the decathlon. So it was sort of a progression of going through a bunch of different events and sort of finding where I belonged.
And when you were doing Little Athletics, were you excelling in any particular event, or were you more of an all-rounder where you saw, okay, maybe I should be a multi-eventer?
I excelled a little bit in the jumps and the hurdles, and that is as well where I am strong in my decathlon. But, I wasn't at the level I am today. It's been a long progression of getting better and getting stronger in the events. Ever since I joined Eric, that's when we really started to progress and push forward in a lot of the jumps and the hurdles. But yeah, I've always been more of a jumper and a hurdler, I guess.
Over here in Western Australia, we love our pole vault. You mentioned the pole vault there. Was there any that you particularly look up to?
I think in 2008, I think it was Steve Hooker that I saw on the TV. Yeah, he was competing. I think it was Beijing 2008, and that's sort of where I saw, the pole vault for the first time, and turned straight to Mum and was like, Mum, I want to do that. So, Steve has always been an Australian icon in track and field and an inspiration for me.
Many people will be watching the decathlon in Rio for the first time. Can you just give some of our listeners a bit of an insight into what events you do? And I understand there's some really complex mathematical equations. I'm not too good at numbers, so if you could give us a bit of an idea of that one as well.
Yeah, so the decathlon is a 2-day competition split up, like a 10-event competition split up over 2 days. So there's 5 events per day. There's a combination of running, jumping and throwing. So in order, on the first day there's the hurdles, long jump, shot put, high jump, and 400. And then on the second day, there's hurdles, discus, pole vault, javelin, and 1500. And it's all worked on points and I guess your results. So the better you do in the events, the more points you get. And pretty much at the end of the 2-day competition, the person with the most amount of points wins. So it's complicated. I don't actually understand the point system. I just have an app on my phone that I just throw the numbers into and it tells me how I'm doing.
What's the app called? Because I'd really want to download that one.
I think it's called Track. That's the one I have. It's just called Track.
Cool. Okay, we'll have a look. I was talking to Kylie Wheeler a few weeks ago for the Road to Rio, and she was a heptathlon, as you would know, and 7 events. With the 10, how do you distribute your time and polish your skills in so many different areas like that?
Do you mean over like a week period?
Yeah.
Yeah. So over the 7 days of the week, I actually work on pretty much all the events. So I guess my afternoons are split up with a few different events. You know, I do running and a throw, or I do, you know, on a Tuesday I'll go out, I'll do some shot put, some high jumps, some plyometrics, and a long run. So it's, I guess, finding the perfect combination of what I can do in an afternoon, what can work together, so that I can do the most amount of training without, I guess, clashes. And then in the mornings I'm out at the QAS and I'm doing gym and Pilates out there. So gym 4 days a week and Pilates twice a week. And then obviously the biggest thing for me is recovery, just making sure I'm recovering between sessions so that I'm able to keep training at 100% without, I guess, destroying my body.
Pilates is an interesting one. When have you sort of added that to your regimen? Has that been recent or something you've always done for a long time?
I've dabbled in Pilates a little bit in the past, but it's only over the past year and a half when I started to have a bit of a back problem. That's when we really attacked the Pilates, and honestly, that's made the biggest difference in my recovery from the back issue. So it's just it's holding me in a much better position, and it's just been awesome. It's made a big difference.
Which event have you had to work the hardest in to improve?
I think the 400 is, I guess, the hardest to improve, just because you're putting the most amount of effort into it, and it's a long-term progression. And then if you are sick for 2 weeks or something, it's like a giant step backwards. So 400 is always the hardest to train for. It's always the most strenuous on the body. But the one I'm putting most of my energy into at the moment is pole vault. Just trying to progress, because pole vault is big points. You know, for every 10 centimeters, I think it's an extra 32 points, somewhere around that. So we're really trying to progress onto bigger poles and get bigger heights so that we can maximize the amount of points we get.
Let's hope you can channel that inner Steve Hooker there. With the training and everything you do, who's on Team Cedric Dubler? Who are the people behind you that give you the platform?
Well, the Team Cedric Dubler is giant. We've now got a really good support network around us that has really just helped get me to where I am. So my main coach, Eric Brown, he looks after everything at the track, all the field events, all the jump events, all the running and all the hurdles. At the QAS, I've got Chris Caviglio, who is strength and conditioning coach, and he looks after that side of things. I've got James Thompson at the QAS as well, who's a physio. Michael Dalgleish, who's, I guess, like a second consult physio, sort of overlooks everything. I work with Adam, who is a nutritionist, Jonah, who's a sports psych. We've just got so many people, that's part of the team, that's helped get me to where I am. So the team is massive, and we meet every 4 weeks to really plan and get on the same page. But it's so good having such a good, supportive, knowledgeable team behind me to get me to where I am.
You mentioned your sports psych, Jonah, and in athletics, in many sports, it's so physical, but we hardly ever talk about the mental side. How much has that benefited you, and are there any sort of exercises that any athletes listening, up-and-coming athletes, might be able to implement?
Yeah, so Jonah has been a massive help for everything, not only competition, but training as well. We've gone through a bunch of, I guess, refocus techniques that have just helped me over the years, refocus and focus on the right things, I guess. So there's nothing really specific that we've worked on, but it's just been a combination of working on little things here and there and just getting on top of everything so that I know how to handle most situations. At the Nationals, the decathlon is a 2-day competition, and at the Nationals, towards the end, we were both mentally and physically drained, and so during the javelin, which is the second last event, I felt like I was starting to fall apart a bit, and it was a lot of the work that I had done with Jonah that got me back on track and pushed a good javelin out there, because I was physically exhausted, so it was lifting mentally that got me there.
I've heard you say that preparation is everything in decathlon. How does your preparation look in the next couple of months leading to Rio? Do you get any more competition experience under your belt? Yep.
So over the next few months, I am only doing one competition, which will be at the start of next month, I believe, in Townsville. I'm going up there. I am actually entering a decathlon, but I'm not actually doing the entire decathlon. I'm entering so that the other boys that are trying to qualify have enough competitors in the competition, and hopefully I can pace them in the 400 or the 1500 or wherever they need my help. But I'll be going up there and just really focusing on hitting 3 or 4 events quite hard and doing well in those ones. But over the next few months, I'm pretty much just basing myself out of Brisbane, where I'm comfortable. It is my first year as an open athlete and competing on the world stage as an open athlete. So just staying in Brisbane where I'm comfortable, and then obviously the little comp in Townsville, and then I will be over to Florida, which is just before the Olympics, where the entire Australian team, I guess, assembles and meets each other, and we go from there.
Yeah, sunny Florida, USA. Speaking of the USA, I did want to mention Ashton Eaton, because he's 28. He's an absolute gun of an athlete, a world record holder, Olympic champion.
Yep.
Just can you give us a bit of an explanation of his dominance in the decathlon over the last few years?
Yeah, Ashton is just, I guess there's just no one like him. You look at his events and he runs 45.0 for the 400, which is insane, and 10.2 for the 100, and he jumps over 8 meters in long jump. Like, you look at those results, and he would be, an Olympian in several different events. So there just isn't anyone like him around at the moment. There are some athletes coming through, but he's just been dominating the field for the past few years, and no one's really been getting close. So he's a bit like me. He is that jumpers, sprinters background, and so I am hoping to go down his sort of path in dominating those events, which are, I guess, bigger points than the throws. But even when you do look at the throws for him, they're still incredible. They're still so far above par that it really, when you look at all his individual events, you see why he is the world record holder.
He's pretty good, but he's nowhere near as good as you in social media. You are the best athlete I've ever seen. Some of the insights you provided us during the Sydney Nationals, behind the scenes, some of your preparation, it was incredible how you documented that, and that was awesome. How did that become a thing for you? How did you get involved in that?
Yeah, so that was, I guess, a few years ago. I wasn't great at interviews. I didn't really like talking to cameras and stuff. And my best friend, who is incredible on social media, sort of just said, people want to see, inside the life of an athlete and what they do and all that sort of stuff. And sort of just gave me an idea to get a camera out and start filming this stuff and showing this side of athletics, and not only just sharing the story with the world, but I was at the same time getting media training, learning how to talk to a camera and answer questions and all that sort of stuff. So, it was getting media training. It was showing a story that had never been really shown before. And ever since that, we've been growing. We've been expanding into different things, different platforms. I'm now on Snapchat quite heavily. Showing, I guess, life as it happens, and it's just different to what everyone else is doing. Athletes are usually quite reserved in what they say and show, and I'm just trying to go down the complete opposite path of being very open with my audience and not only just sharing the highs but sharing the lows and the journey as it happens, because people really appreciate the honesty. So and as well during the competition, I find it as quite a good little distraction and a way of refocusing. I sit in front of the camera, I talk about the event and how it went and how I'm feeling, and then I put down the camera and I can just refocus on the next event. I've put my thoughts aside and I can refocus on the next event. So in a lot of ways, I'm really liking what I'm doing, and I think we're only getting started. We are slowly expanding and bringing new series in and all that sort of stuff, but at the moment it's a lot of fun.
We certainly love it, and a lot of your videos are in all terrain. I mean, bathrooms on aeroplanes and on tracks. What sort of equipment do you swear by?
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of different cameras. At the moment, part of my stuff was shot on a Canon, I guess, photo camera, like a big chunky camera. We're moving towards Panasonic now, just because it is a better camera. But we've got GoPro on board who are helping me film some stuff and supplying cameras and stuff. So there's a variety of different cameras which are used in different situations, I guess. If you look at on YouTube, if you look at the airplane video where I'm giving some advice on silly things you can do on the plane while you're traveling, that was all shot on a GoPro. But then you look at nationals and that was shot on like a slightly bigger camera. So it's just a variety of different cameras.
We'll be sure to link up your YouTube videos. And on the guide to a successful bathroom flight, I have to inform you that you have broken a world record for the number of keepy-ups with a toilet paper in a bathroom on an airplane.
Thank you.
So congratulations. Certificate in the mail soon.
Love it. Thank you.
What is the best purchase under $100 you've made in your kit bag which has improved your performance?
Oh, that's a tough question. There's a lot in my kit bag. There's improved my performance. I think honestly, it's my training diary. It's that $5 notebook from the news agents where I've been able to just put ideas and put thoughts and written my times and all that sort of stuff. Just really keeping track of what I'm doing in training. So I think it's the training diary. If not, as a second one, I reckon a spare pair of socks. Always very handy to have in the travel in the training bag, just in case it does rain or anything like that. But yeah, I'd say the training diary is number one.
Before I let you go, Cedric, have you done any cheeky Google searches of Rio de Janeiro? What are you expecting going to Brazil?
Honestly, I haven't really been Googling much. I've just been, over the past few weeks since Nationals, just focusing on getting back into training. I was a little sick after the Nationals and even during the Nationals, so we were just trying to recover from that and get back into training. So, we have a bit of a plan. I am looking to go top 8 over there and hopefully push up, getting hopefully close to those medals. But honestly, like anything can happen on the day, and all it takes is one slip up from a few athletes and I'm up there. So we're looking for top 8. We're looking on a few 100-point improvement from the Nationals, which will be quite incredible as a 21-year-old, I guess. So we're just looking to push the boundaries a bit and see what we can do. But yeah, honestly, it's going to be an incredible experience, and I am still 21, so I'm still young in the sport. I still hopefully have a few more Olympics. So hopefully I can go in and gain a bunch of experience which can get put towards future Olympics.
We'll all be supporting you. One thing I'll teach you about Brazil, I'll teach you how to say thank you very much. It's muito obrigado.
Muito obrigado.
Perfect, mate. Perfect.
Love it. Thank you.
Cedric, thanks a lot for joining me on the road to Rio, mate.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Brazilian Beats with Fernanda, the real deal from a local about Rio and Brazil.
We have to talk about favelas,
Okay.
Because when I've been there, there's a lot of tourism, so people go on tours, and they say that when you visit the favela and you pay for a tour, you're helping the economy.
Yeah.
And then you also go there and you see in Rio and Sao Paulo, all over that there's favelas everywhere. Like, you can't ignore it. It's a big part of the living there. So what do you recommend for people that do go in terms of their safety? And have you ever been to a favela before?
Yeah. Me, as someone from Rio, of course, I met many favelas over there, and yeah, it's pretty dangerous. But if you go with someone, make sure you have someone to help you, especially if you're not able to speak Portuguese, and make sure if you are going with someone who knows very well the place, and everything, like, don't carry your objects, like expensive objects, like your wallet and your phones, because it's a really good place. As Rocinha, it's a big, enormous, huge favela. I think it's the biggest in the world. I don't know. But on the top, it's amazing. You can see all the Rio de Janeiro.
It's really an amazing view.
Yeah, and also Vidigal. It's next to Rocinha, and you can see Ipanema, Copacabana, Leblon. It's amazing. But yeah, just be careful. You are going with someone who will look after you. And also, near Barra da Tijuca, there is another favela. It's not like a favela. Cidade de Deus. We call CDD. It's dangerous too, but it's famous because the movie. And I think it's a good place to visit too. I think it's not so dangerous. No, it's dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
It is dangerous. No. Yeah, but it's a good place to visit. So it's different. It's not on the hill.
Hey everyone, it's Abid. So it's time to declare this episode closed. Be sure to pass that Olympic torch by sharing and subscribing to the show. Just visit abidimam.com. Until next time, mucho apreciado and ciao.